Hey everyone, welcome to the Dare to Care podcast, the podcast where we talk about the inner workings of ministry at Inspire Family Fellowship and community stories within and around the church. If you have any comments, stories, or questions about our Dare to Care ministries at any point during our podcast today, feel free to send those questions to me at ty@inspirefamily.org. We also invite you to join us in person any Sunday or Wednesday that you're able. Our address is 523 North 21st Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Sunday services are at 9:15 and 10:45, and Wednesday nights are at 7. Like I said, my name's Ty Farnsworth. I'm the worship coordinator at Inspire Family Fellowship, and I'm joined today by our associate pastor, Rob Pesky.
Howdy.
And a little bit of a special one for me today.
Wait, a little bit of a special one?
Yeah, okay. So we're interviewing my wife today.
The most special one that there could ever be.
But yeah, my wife, Olivia, how are you doing?
Good. Not too bad. Yeah.
This is fun. So usually we ask the person questions and we talk about their lives, but I thought today, just to shake it up, we could just do like a live marriage counseling session.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
and
let's,
yeah, you know, just
let's pull the plug on
No?
that one.
No? Okay. All right.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Speaking of marriage
you.
counseling, marriage retreat, there's still some spots opening.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you guys want to sign up, reach out to Pastor Ernie or find it on our website. Anyways,
Yeah, that'd be cool. I've never gone, but I've heard it's great. So anyway, yeah, back to business here. Olivia Farnsworth is in the house today. Tell us your story. You know, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? How did you end up here? And
Yeah, well, I have kind of lived, I've lived in the Midwest, my whole life. I was born in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Then my family lived in Fergus Falls, Minnesota for a while. My dad went to seminary there for 3 years. And then he got the call to be a pastor here in Bismarck. So he is actually the pastor at Grace Lutheran Brethren, which is just a few blocks down from us. So yeah, I say that I basically grew up in Bismarck because it's been, since elementary school for me. So it feels like my home here, and I love living here. But yeah.
so you're a pastor's kid.
I am a
PK.
pastor's kid.
And you don't remember life before that either.
I don't. Well, I vaguely have memories of my dad being a gym teacher because that's what he did before. So in Grand Forks, he was the gym teacher on the Air Force Base.
Okay, so then I need advice because, I've been a pastor for just under 2 years.
Right.
How do I make sure my kids don't get damaged by
Yeah.
that? Is there anything you wish your dad had never done or you wish your dad had done? Or
Honestly, I mean, I think about this now being like a parent myself. I think everyone's just going to wreck their kids a little bit anyway.
Good. Yeah,
and
that's
I don't
true.
I
think...
think Amanda said something similar. She goes, what was the exact quote? It was, your kids are going to go to counseling. You just got to make sure it's not for,
Yeah.
you can dictate what they go to counseling for.
Exactly.
Right, yeah. I mean, nothing really different. I personally, I'm the oldest of, there's 10 of us. So
There's 10 of you.
there's 10 of us.
Holy
so
It's a big family.
Yeah.
I have, I'm trying to do the math. I have 7 biological siblings and 2 adopted siblings. So yeah, my youngest
and you're
sister's
the oldest.
I am.
Right.
I am.
Yeah.
My youngest sister she's 4 now, right?
4. Yeah,
She's
it's
4.
a 19-year age gap.
I have to ask Ty because he remembers numbers better than I do.
It was my big test when I joined the family
Yeah.
is, can you remember all their names in order and how old they are?
How old they are.
My wife has 3 siblings, 1 full brother and 2 half siblings, and I still slow down before I name all of them.
Yeah.
I can get there.
Yeah.
I know their names. I've met them.
Right.
But, man, that's crazy. Okay, so you
Yes.
moved to Bismarck.
Yep. When I was in 5th grade, been here ever since. Grew up pastor's kid. It was just normal for me, kind
Sure.
of. So, I mean, my dad is busy, and my mom is just, she's a stay-at-home mom pretty much ever since I was born. She was a preschool teacher before that, so her job has just been kids. I've just been used to that kind of life, I think. And so, marrying someone who works in ministry, I kind of feel for my mom a lot more than I used to. I understand her a little bit better. Dad has to go to a meeting tonight, or he has to go do this thing, and she didn't complain about it. I'm exaggerating,
Right.
but she would just talk about it and be like, okay, and now I kind of get it more. But Yeah.
So, okay, so you grew up in Bismarck. I believe you went to Century High School?
I did for up until my senior year, and then I finished online. So my diploma is from North Dakota Center for Distance Education or something.
Oh, interesting.
And I got it in the mail, so it was really anticlimactic.
And Ty, being a Bismarck demon, you were okay with a Century High?
Yeah, I didn't meet her till, well, technically we met in high school,
Yeah.
but we didn't meet until
I just knew who he was.
she was going off to college, and this was after I'd already been out of college, so it didn't really affect us too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduate from high school one way or another.
I did.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. Only went for a year. And then COVID hit, and I decided that I really did not want to go back. I didn't want to do online school because I had hated doing that to finish up high school. And then so I decided I was going to pursue photography, which is what I really liked. I had some odd jobs while I was working on that. Like I was a nanny for a while. I lived in Fargo with my roommate, who I was roommates with at GCU, and she's from Minnesota too, so we knew each other before. And so then we lived together for a while, and then I moved back because I started dating Ty.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
It worked out.
Yeah. And you guys were married, I was there, was it?
Yep.
3 years ago.
3 years ago?
3 years, yep. February 26th.
Yeah, and you just had an anniversary.
We
I would
did.
say, yeah.
3
Congratulations.
years.
Happy
Thank you.
anniversary. I always say marriage is the best.
It
It's just wonderful.
It
So
is the
glad to hear that. And I can't go pass through this moment without saying something about your photography, because you just did my son's senior pictures.
Oh, yes, I did that.
And they are spectacular.
Thank
and,
you.
One of the things I noticed, you have some sort of standard shots you have to get, it's their
Yes.
senior pictures. But you submitted to us anyway all of these really artistic shots too that have no value really, other than they just
Right.
look cool.
Yes.
A picture of his hands holding his
Yeah.
drumsticks or something. And I have to tell you, those were really special to me.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And I'm probably not going to go on the graduation announcement or anything,
Right.
but like we saved all of those because they
Yeah.
are just beautiful works of art.
I think those are fun to have. Like my biggest thing when I was doing photography full time is like evoking feelings. I'm such like a feely person in that way, and I always, like, if I was doing a wedding, I love getting like candids. I love doing some like motion blur stuff to, like, I don't know. I just think those are so fun.
I really
they
like
make
the
me
one
happy.
that's hanging up in your office.
Oh,
the
yeah.
one she did where it's a collage of Ben at every different instrument that he plays.
Yeah.
all put
Oh
together.
yeah, that was fun too. I'm not awesome at Photoshop sometimes, but I thought that one turned out pretty well.
It turned out really well. Well
Yeah.
enough for me to print it on canvas and hang it in my office.
I haven't even seen it. I
you'll
have to go
come
look
see
at it.
Yeah. And all our listeners can come in and see this amazing photograph too. But
Everyone break into Rob's office.
and fast forward through 3 years of marriage, here you are with a child.
Yes.
And
Yep.
he's not quite 2 yet.
He'll
or-
be 2 in May, May
Okay.
26th. So,
Awesome.
which is so
It's
weird.
crazy.
I look at him, I'm like, where is my baby?
Yeah.
He's like a full kid.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we see him running around here all the time.
He's so fun.
So, that's the story of your life. How about the story of your faith?
Yeah.
And I get that you grew up in a pastor's house, so I'm sure but were there moments or people or things that happened in your life where you're like, holy cow, this is real, or this is for me?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, kind of like you said, I don't think I can't think of a time where I didn't believe, Like I grew up with it, and I think my parents did just one of the greatest jobs of raising us to know Jesus in like a way that didn't feel restrictive. It didn't feel forceful. But like they just presented it as the truth that it was. And I've always been someone who's very into finding the truth, like with everything. And so I think just growing up in that was such a blessing. And I know a lot of people don't get that. And so I think one of the things for me was it was hard to see like the outside perspective of that a little bit. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself to more recently. But I think even marrying Ty, who grew up differently than I did in a way.
We both grew up in the church, but we
Yes.
grew up in very, very different
Yes.
churches.
Yeah.
Still both Lutheran, but one side of it was hers and one side of it was mine.
Yeah.
And kind of coming together
Yeah.
Yeah.
at Inspire is kind of, it's
Yep.
been a very interesting journey
Yeah.
relationally through faith, I think.
Yeah. And I think kind of maybe where I was going with this is I needed someone else to kind of be that outside catalyst for me to be like, okay, I want to do this for myself and figure out, okay, was the things my parents were telling me, is that the truth? And it is,
Right.
which is good. I've come to that conclusion, but I think it was good for me to have, like, I wasn't just being told, like, what the truth is. And while that I think that's so important to do, I think it's so important to have that desire in yourself to, like, confirm or deny what you really believe. And so I think they helped set me up really well for that. And then, friends and Ty and becoming a mother are all, like, huge things that have helped me be like, okay, I really want to, like, look into this more for myself and, like, make sure, like, what I believe is really true. I'm always someone who wants to, like, I don't know if test is the right word, but I kind of like to test it
Refine.
a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Refine maybe better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do think it's interesting when you look at marriage. My wife was Catholic when we met, and came from a good Catholic family. They
Yeah.
were involved in their church. I mean, her parents were like the youth pastors at the
Right,
church. They were
yeah.
volunteers, but and then you get together with a spouse and you figure out what do we believe, because it's not necessarily the same as what do I believe and
Right.
what do my parents believe, and
Yeah.
that can be really challenging.
Yeah.
But it can also be really good. Like, it's a good way to bond your marriage and
Yeah.
to
For
wrestle
sure.
with these things together and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your parents were obviously hugely influential. Were there
Yes.
anyone else in your life that you feel like challenged you for better or worse? Or you thought, man, I do not want to be like that person. And if you could name them, and
Yeah.
then we could
Name
contact
them and their address and.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I think I don't know if quite people. I know we want to talk about, like, people, but I think some experiences
Sure,
maybe
yeah.
for me that really helped me realize God's, like, role in my life. I mentioned earlier I didn't graduate high school from Century. I ended up dropping out. I was a high school dropout for 3 days. And I tell that to lots of people.
Her rebellious phase.
Because I have nothing rebellious about me. And so that was my rebellious phase. But it was because of some mental health issues. So I ended up just stopped. I stopped being able to, like, get out of my car and go into school in the mornings. I've been, like, I've been, like, anxious as long as I can remember. Like, I remember in 3rd grade, like, crying every morning.
Listen, I have one little brother, and that makes me anxious. You had 9
Yeah.
little siblings.
Well, I don't know if it was them.
I know. I'm just...
I think, some recent discoveries with my health are the cause from way back then, and we just didn't look far enough into it, and so my doctors put me on some, like, medication, but I just could not go into school anymore. I was almost done, so I was like, please, can I just finish online so I don't have to miss so much school anymore? So I did that, and I think that was the first really hard part of my life, that I realized these things that make me so anxious are what make me realize how much I need God. And I have come to now feel just super grateful for that. I don't think I would have the faith I have today if God didn't let me, like, walk through that. And I know I wasn't doing it alone. Like, that's another part where my parents come in really strong. They were just so great with all of that. I'm trying to think of, like, who else.
Well, I think
was around
I
that
like
time,
what you
but-
said, and we hear this over and over in this room, is it's usually not the best time in your life that draws
Right.
you to God.
Yep.
It's usually the challenging times.
Yeah.
And yet, as human beings, how much of our day do we spend trying to avoid the challenges?
Right.
You know, I'm not going to deal with this, or I'm not going to deal with that, or I need to fix this, and then I can
Right.
go back to church or
Yep.
whatever it is. And I think God, well, it even says, my strength is made perfect in weakness. And boy, I'm not asking for weakness.
Right.
But I think that's a really common story.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, it comforts me to know that God won't waste my suffering.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
he will minister to me through that. And I would imagine, and maybe you're not all the way through it. I know there's still health issues in your
Yeah.
life that you're working through.
Yep.
But there may be an opportunity down the road where you will be able to use that experience to minister to someone else.
Yeah, and I actually was thinking about that as you said that. That actually was something that I got to do. I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, but I was saying, like, it's so cool when you get to see God using that in our, like, lifetime on earth. Like, I think some people suffer and they don't really realize why until they get to heaven. But I got to help a very, very dear friend of mine. And she was going through, like, some really tough things. And it was cool to be able to actually understand her. And I remember I wrote a little verse for her, and I gave it to her. And it was like, I don't know, like 9 years ago, maybe. She has some kids now, and I go to her house and it's still up on her fridge.
That's awesome.
And so that is always so encouraging to me that, like, God can use that. And I think he's given me just the ability to, like, I like to talk about it a little bit, like, on social media, like health issues I'm going through or stuff I've struggled with. And then I have people message me saying, like, thank you. And, you know, and that's not me. I think that's all God doing that. So I'm just thankful that I've gotten to see some of the fruits of that in my lifetime and not have to wait and be like, okay, God, can you tell me now why when I die? Like, because I love to know why, but I know some people have to be really patient with that. So,
Oh, man,
yeah.
that's crazy. Okay, well, I want to pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
You are a very active member of our praise team here.
Yeah.
You
I haven't been as much, but
well, I guess, yeah.
I have a child now. So.
Apparently children get in the way of doing
They do
the
a little
Lord's
bit.
work, right? Yeah. No, but you sing on
Yeah.
Wednesdays and Sundays occasionally.
Yeah.
How did, were you a choir kid growing up, or how does that play into your life?
We just sing at my house. There was just music growing up. My dad, who, you know, he's the pastor, but he also leads worship every Sunday too. So my dad sings, he plays guitar. My whole dad's side of the family is super musical. My grandma taught me how to play piano, and she has Alzheimer's now. So, you know, she doesn't remember it, but it's cool to, like, have that from her. My aunt is amazing, has a great voice. But yeah, I just kind of grew up with music, and I was in choir a little bit, but I didn't love the choir because they would, like, tell me how to sing, and I didn't want them to tell
And
me
you were
how
an
to
artiste.
sing. Right, and I
The artist,
I don't like when
yeah.
people tell me how to do art.
Oh.
Anyway, but
If we
yeah.
cut that just right, Ty will be justified. Like, I don't like it when people tell me
Yeah.
to do.
I'm going to
Don't
send this
do
to
that.
Brian. I'm sure he'll love it.
Oh, yeah.
No.
No, it's funny.
But yeah, anyway, I didn't love choir for that reason, but I just love to sing in general, and I just always have. And I would sing at, you know, when growing up at Grace, I sang with the praise team there, and it's been so fun to sing here, especially with Ty, because I think, you know, it's fun.
That's
We
great.
don't always get to sing together, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I love it.
Well, and
Yeah.
then, like I always say, we're called Inspire Family Fellowship for a reason. Like,
Yes.
I'm up on stage with my dad and my
Yeah.
brother, and now my son
so
or
fun.
sons, depending
Yeah.
on the week. And yeah, I mean, as if worshiping our God isn't a special experience already, but
I
get to do
know.
that with your family, and
It's pretty cool.
and then even I sometimes I get glimpses, I feel like, of the feast to come. You know, you're up there with your whole family singing praises. Like, this is what eternity looks
That's
like.
pretty cool.
It is really cool. And so, and along those lines, I have to say how delighted I am, and I know you're not always delighted, when I see little James crawl up
Yeah.
on the drum throne and start wailing away up there. What has his experience been here at Inspire? You know?
He just loves it. I think he thinks he like owns the place a little bit.
Yeah.
We're trying to be careful.
Does he
with
count
that.
as a pastor's kid? Because Ty works here. He's in ministry.
He's
Maybe
a pastor's
someday.
grandkid.
Pastor's
he is
grandkid.
a pastor's grandkid.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Kind of on both sides, because your grandfather was a
Yep.
pastor. And,
yeah. So he's he's gonna grow up here, and he's gonna grow up being in the church, and he loves the music. It's I get sweaty when I try to keep him in there because he wants to go up there so badly.
I know.
Which someday he'll be able to. He'll be able to someday. I think I can't imagine that he won't play something or sing.
He won't have a choice.
I know. Yeah.
Dad needs a drummer. Get up
Yes,
there.
Yep. And we got him a drum set for Christmas this last year, and he just loves it. He kind of tears it apart. He's really violent with it. He's got his drumsticks just flying, and it's pretty fun to watch. But yeah, he loves it here. He knows like where everything is. He comes in, and we're walking in the morning, and we'll be outside. He'll say morning, and then he gets inside, and he just kind of gets shy for the greeters. He knows they say good morning.
Yeah.
And he does that Wednesdays too. He says morning, and I'm like, well, it is 5 p.m., but close enough.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, he's fun.
Very cool. So you help out with our worship team, which is great, but you're obligated to do that because you married into it. You know,
Right.
we get it.
It's not my church. Just kidding.
But I don't know if people know this. You're another one of those behind the scenes people too, because you're doing a lot of our design, especially right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You've designed slides, you've designed signs and posters and mailers.
Yeah.
So is that just like an offshoot of your photography?
I think so. I had a little side gig being like a social media manager for a while when I was like trying to start up my photography business.
Well, I just think you have made such an impact here. I'm curious if you feel like you're connected, or if you're just Ty's wife, or if you have your own people, or
Yeah.
and maybe even how did you become, like, to me, I think of you very separate from him. Like, I'm just as excited to see
Thank
you.
you.
But how do you feel like you've navigated that, or
Yeah.
have you made friends on your own and not just
Yeah.
been the music guy's wife?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Inspire is one of the more easy places to make friends. Like, people are just friendly, and I don't feel like I'm just Ty's wife, which is good. I think it kind of is where I end up. A lot of mornings is just James now.
Sure.
Which is
maybe
fine.
that's another question.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you handle not being Olivia but being James' mom?
Right. Yeah. I think that's more of an adjustment than being, Ty's wife here, I think. But I do love it because he's like my favorite tiny human ever. And like, I think he helps me talk to people. I think sometimes, before becoming a mom, I would be a little bit like, I wouldn't go out of my way really to talk to people. I'm not like shy, but like, I don't know. I think he helps me, like, because everyone wants to talk to James,
Right. Yeah.
And so then I get to talk to them too. And I don't feel offended by that at all. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy you want to see my kid because I want to see my kid. Yes.
Not to put words in your mouth, but does it feel like with James in the picture, it feels less like this is your husband's church and more like this is our family's church?
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It definitely gives me more of like I think about him being in Sunday school someday, and like, yeah, for sure. I think it definitely has made it even better and easier for me here. And just seeing more of like that future here too, has been really good. But I don't know that I ever really thought of it as like, oh, that's Ty's church.
Sure.
Like, I started coming here when we were dating, right?
If if there's anyone out there listening who is a young mom, or maybe even just a young family,
Yeah.
Maybe they're newly married, because I 3 years is great, but I'm just curious, what would you say to another young mom or a young wife, or even just a young woman who's trying to make her faith her own?
Yeah, I think lean into the things that are hard about motherhood, because you have to lean on God. You just have to. When you're in the middle of the night and you have not slept and you're just exhausted, you have to. I actually have a quote on my phone that I look at. I found it on Pinterest. Don't know who said it, but it has been one of the best things for me as a mom to just change my perspective a little bit. And it says, every word I speak, every dish I scrub, every diaper I change, every spill I clean that's done out of love for my Savior is divinely transformed from a mom's chore into a daughter's worship. And so I have worked on, through God's grace, I have been trying so hard. When I'm up in the night, I say, Lord, this is worship. This is my worship to you. I'm doing dishes and the stains will not come off the pan. I'm saying, Lord, this is worship. This is my worship for you. Just knowing like that you're not doing it by yourself. I think leaning into that, I think becoming a mom has been the best thing for my faith. And I'm going to get... Sorry.
It's okay.
I just don't talk about it enough because I'm so busy. And so I just love it. I love being a mom. I love getting to have God do the work through me that way.
Olivia, you are sitting right in God's purpose for you. And that's good news.
It is, yeah.
And doesn't make it easy.
Yep.
Oh, and that was your point too about like God uses our struggles.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
if you're not struggling, you might not be where God put you to be.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean? In fact, maybe that's the best sign that, am I doing God's will? Is it hard? No, it's pretty easy.
Maybe
there might be something else out there for you. Maybe there's some growth that needs to happen there. So
no, I think it absolutely is such a tool that he uses for faith. And like you're saying, God picks our family for us. I think it's hard to not think that there's a God when you look at like your baby.
Yeah.
Like you look at your family and you look at how it fits together and how like that couldn't have just happened.
Yeah.
It has to have been like designed. So that has been huge for me too. Like, yeah, I don't know, being a wife and a mom just is what I do. And I didn't mean to say just, because I don't think it's a just.
I know. I know
being a wife and a mom is what I am doing right now. And I've never felt so like fulfilled and like in my purpose. And even, though I don't really sleep.
You can sleep later. Someday he'll go to college.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. It's fine. Right. I don't need it.
No, I hear that. Well, if it's okay with everybody, then I'd like to close us in prayer.
Great.
And then Ty can give us the little outro, and we will get on with lives. But I just want to say, Olivia, thank you so much for being welcome. Here. And I mean that on a lot of levels. Thank you for what you do for this church, whether it's marketing and communication stuff, whether it's singing, whether it's just keeping Ty, like getting Ty to show up to work, whatever that.
I actually did that on Monday.
Yeah. Inspire would not
usually he can do it, but
be Inspire without you and the things that you do.
Well, I appreciate that.
In addition, though, thank you for answering God's call and being the mother that he made you to be, and being the wife that he made you to be, and being the woman that he made you to be, and just for being willing to share that story with all of us too. We really truly appreciate you, and if Ty goes nuts, you can still come. Okay, if we eventually have to pick between the two of you,
I probably will.
Inspire chooses Olivia. We'll fire him. It's fine. Okay, so I'm just kidding. We love you both, and we're grateful for you sharing your story and taking the risk of letting your spouse share a podcast with you, and that goes both ways. All right, let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day, and I thank you for all of your blessings and gifts you've given us. I just thank you for Olivia, and I thank you for Ty, and I thank you for their family. Lord, I pray that you bless them, that you guide them, that you keep them safe, healthy, and happy. Help them to grow closer to each other and closer to you, and that in all things they will seek to do your will, and that they will feel your presence in their lives. Bless them in all that they do. And Lord, I lift up our listeners. I pray that you bless them, that you guide them, and keep them safe, healthy, and happy, and help them to know you, love you, and serve you. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you guys have any questions for my wife, Olivia, or for me about Dare to Care or anything going on at Inspire, feel free to reach out to me at ty@inspirefamily.org, or you're welcome to talk to her in person. Usually you can find her any Sunday or Wednesday. Just follow the toddler. It's pretty easy to find her.
Or just look behind the toddler because she'll be running.
Yeah,
He'll
exactly.
be running, so I'll be a few steps behind.
But we invite you to join us in person Sunday or Wednesday. Our Sunday services are at 9:15 and 10:45. Wednesday nights at 7, preceded by 6 o'clock class time and 5 o'clock meals. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next Thursday. Thanks for joining us.